you doing it for the attention that you garner? Or are you doing it for the people that you say that you want to write for and uplift? And I think for me, performance after performance, I started to see, my ego be more of the thing. And I didn't like that that's what I started doing it for, and I think on a certain level, you start to see a certain part of your, like, you're not as deep as you think you are. You might be a little shallow, and I think when you come to terms with that, it forces you to take a step back. And I'm trying to think if there was a single performance that I can think of where something like that came about. But I think more or less, I think it affected my writing. It affected my writing, and I didn't feel as inspired by my own writing. And I didn't feel, I felt like I was in this constant loop of performing for the audience to receive me versus performing because I want to move something within the community. I want to have an impact that changes people's minds, that opens people's thoughts.
You had to change where the source came from. When you started to make that change to where the creativity was, where the river was flowing from, I want to incline to say, once you let go of the ego, the river of ego, you might get an ocean of knowledge from your maturity. Yeah. But that stream to get there could go down a little creek. It can go slide down some rocks. It can go through a mud patch. So just the development of you getting to the full circumference of your flow is a hard transition.
But I think in me finding my, do I know my Black self is, where is it that I see myself, and who am I in terms of our community? What is my voice? Who will I be? How do I forge a path that is distinctly who I am versus who it is that I think I should be? And that journey is I'm still on that journey. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop. You don't just be like, oh yeah, I'm there now. I know everything that is related to Blackness, and I'll tell other people how to be better Black people. Nah, it's not that. I'm still discovering what it means to be first generation Jamaican in this country. I'm still discovering what it means to be a Black man, which to me, a lot of it means, how do I become more than a man? Which, it's founded to me most basically in Christian principles, but essentially this construct of race is something that has been decided to define us in ways that make us more confused than we really should be about where it is that we fit in the world. And the construct of manhood similarly, which is to say that, don't get me wrong, there are clearly defined things that as a man you should be considering, and how it is that you move about the world. But you should also think about what the final level is, right? Because the final level isn't just being a man, it's being more than a man. It's being discerning in ways that are almost, the ways that God would define. You having overcome the things that the world says and who you could be spiritually, And across religions, that's technically what everyone is trying to achieve, is going beyond what your humanity defines for you. And your humanity defines for you race and gender. And then go along as you please. But I need you to take these shackles with you, But I would say that you should look to how it is that you understand the world, how you understand yourself, and make sure your spirituality is deeply connected so that you are not confined to the things that people say you are to be, but you're able to grow beyond that. And the choices that they make are not just based in intelligence, but they're based in wisdom, right? Wisdom is always been the key to all of this. Intelligent information can be acquired. Wisdom is more or less how you take that information and you understand the world and the do's and the don'ts and the things that you have to draw pause and say, I'm going to ponder that before I even respond.
How important is it to leave where you're from to develop yourself to where you're going?
I think that's part of your journey, right? If we call life a journey, then that means that there's consistently a point where you're starting from and you're going somewhere else, you know? And
Mhm.
you could even still be in the same neighborhood you've been in for the last 30 years and still be on a journey. You know what I mean? Because it's internal. So it doesn't matter. You could physically go places and learn absolutely nothing. Really, the journey is inside, you know? And it is how you acquire new information, but also how you learn from the information in terms of the experiences that take place. How much of a student are you of yourself? How much of a student are you of people? And then are you consistently taking notes, trying to learn and build off of those things? Because before there were institutions of learning, there were guys that sat in a circle that discussed philosophy. And then that philosophy became a school of thought. Then people did studies, research, they wrote, they experimented, and then books came out of those things. And then you have disciplines, you know what I'm saying? So if we break things down in the reverse order in terms of how they created and they became institutions, then we have to understand that all of it begins with a person acquiring information, mulling it over, testing it, you know what I mean? Gathering with others of similar mindset, discussing and debating, and then going out in the world and applying it, and then formally coming a determination if what I thought in theory is now truly a law. You know what I mean?